Okay. I would like to convene our strategic training meeting workshop because I think we have some additional work we need to do before we can move forward. Plus, we have 2 council members that are not here. So I would like to suggest that we have a future workshop, a very near future workshop, so we can start drilling down on our focus. Do y'all have any comments?
So my hope was that we would finally approve of an ad hoc working group and that they would work this. And that council members would be welcome to join that ad hoc working group. But my approach, maybe can you put up my slides real quick?
So can you clarify what an ad hoc is?
Ad hoc means it's got one task, it's for the duration of the task, and it goes away when it's done. Ad hoc is formed, you don't need a charter for it, you don't even need a council approval. You just say, establish the ad hoc working group. And the working group goes off and does the work for that task. When they're done, it's gone. It goes away, it disappears. First slide, I only have 3 slides. Title slide and 2 others. It's really short. Next one, please. Okay, so establish an ad hoc working group. Decide what sections need to exist in our strategic plan. And I just put down possibilities. Parks and Rec, future City Hall, airport, water, sewer, fire, roads, the intersection of 21 and 100, lakes, growth and zoning, capital improvements and replacements, intergovernmental coordination, schools, historic preservation, economic development. And while we're sitting here in the meeting, I thought of one other. I thought about safety and security. Just possibilities. Then select a lead person, and it's very similar to what we were talking about. Select a lead person for areas. Trying not to overwhelm one single person, trying to put people where their area of interest is, but have a what we call in the military unity of command. Someone is in charge, and they're going to make it happen. That person and any others helping with that section then responsible for meeting as necessary with citizens and relevant stakeholders. So for example, if it's the airport area, then we obviously got to meet with airport leadership. Whereas if it's parks and recreation, we should certainly involve public works, involve that. Relevant people for whatever the task is. Not everybody's going to be involved in every task. Then gather all the inputs, very similar to what you were talking about. Evaluate the inputs. In general, I don't like to dismiss inputs. I like to include everything, but every now and then there's an input that just doesn't make any sense at all. And so you would not include that. Write up the inputs for the overall plan. Next slide, please. Review a draft. So first within the committee, because as we have these, we used to call them stovepipes of excellence. Each of these subparts is doing their part. Sometimes they're interconnected with each other. So we need to be talking to each other on the committee there. And we need to review, update, edit, okay? Then we need to ask the community. One of the things that Dr. James said to me is that the city council should have a chance to review it also. So perhaps that's part of ask the community to review the draft. The city council, the city staff, everybody gets a chance to review it. And finally, we put it out as a city council ordinance. And I'm going off of, and I just asked the staff to print out a copy. This is, the city of Stark is way ahead of us. For 33 years, they've been doing strategic planning. This is a 110-page document. They're last edited in 2022. And it's an example that we could learn from, an example that we could follow. Not that we need a 110-page document the first time we try this. I'm thinking a lot smaller than that. And then there's also the example of the county. The county has a strategic plan, and then they have a comprehensive plan. The strategic plan is 2 pages. I don't know. It's really small. We could do far more elaborate stuff, but my suggestion is that we keep it simple to start with, not get into a ton of weeds. And then, once we get that, call it that vision, that overarching document that kind of gives us our guidance, then we get into the details. Okay, we're gonna put the water park here, we're gonna put the fishing pier here. Those are the details that I'm saying, maybe not even talk about in this first draft. So that was my thought. I was hoping we'd come up with some more dates here of when we're gonna get stuff done. That's the other thing I was hoping to get accomplished. And I'll say, there's 100 different ways you could do this. You know, your way, my way. There's at least 50 other ways. I don't know.
Well, I think before we can honestly have a totality strategic plan, we have to have specific concepts of what that will entail. So it's really hard. You've got to be careful not to get the cart before the horse. We need to know where the horse is going first before we can make it all one focus. That's kind of how I think about it, like seeing kind of what we're really dealing with and how do we really look at it as a whole, and how do we prioritize based on that knowledge in the total, plan.
Right, I totally agree. I think maybe the one big difference is I'm looking for the committee to come up with the things rather than us up on the dais here dictating what those things are.
I'm not saying we're dictating. I do believe that each council member should have ownership in some of these decisions that we are making based on the research that we have done, and then we can individually select a committee, ask them to join us as I am reviewing the materials, right, and get their input. I totally think that's great. That gets the community involved, and getting their input is going to be very crucial, I think. But I do think we each should have some ownership with the project. And we did this with Heritage Commission when I became chair, as John probably knows. And honestly, we were not focused on anything. We were just kind of flown around and not getting stuff done. And I came up with some projects and chatted with everyone. They were all on board with the projects and said, okay, who wants to research this one and come up with how we need to process, or how do we get to the goal, okay? Whether it's this year, next year, whatever, but we have a plan.
Right.
And then bring it to us and let's all talk about it and what is our priority and what dates do we want to initiate. And those were very small because that's a small group, right, compared to big city. But I do see it that way. Ask someone to join us that has the interest and get their input, and then based on the parameters he showed today with some kind of a format so we can all have consistency of information, roll it out that way. And then I think it would help really a lot to focus. I think we're going to have several workshops with regard to this. It's certainly not one or two even.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, what are your thoughts there, Speedy?
We gotta start somewhere, but take a little chunk at a time, not the big old overwhelm all the projects. We got a lot of stuff going on now we gotta get done. That's the thing, like we're saying with the fishing pier. That's all we hear. Well, we need more finish about that. I see something going on over here I didn't know was going on.
So that's a donated pre-K little play area that we used to have some pre-K kind of items literally from when I was pre-K age. They got pulled up.
Rocking horses on the spring.
Yeah, so anyway, just that Mr. Gibbs had that donated to his, I think it's a nonprofit. I apologize, I wasn't prepared to speak about that. From actually Grove Park Elementary, they got a new playground up at a Clay County School in Orange Park, so they're gifting us that one.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's nice. Mayor, okay if we have a citizen speak?
Absolutely.
I understand. I just thought I'd ask permission.
Yeah.
So, of course, if you don't know me, John Zeser, I live at 505 Palmetto Avenue, right there. Just a couple of things. As a chair of your P&Z board, we look to you guys for a framework. We don't need all the answers. We just need enough of the frame to be able to make a competent decision. I asked these guys, hey, can we have our paperwork up ahead of time, preferably as much leeway as possible. That gives us time to do our own due diligence. And when we had when I was first presented with the Wiggins group down here on Sunrise, I had nothing other than a blank sheet of paper saying, this is what we want, and I had to dig for what we want, and that's why I kicked it back. I says, no, that this isn't concise enough. So that's what I am asking from you as we go forward with your strategic planning. Since I am going to be an integral part of that strategic planning, what is your framework? And then I'm not asking for all the answers. I am asking for, this is what we want here, this is what we want there, this is what we want there. Very much what you are discussing today. And then whatever John, take care of this, or Speedy, this is yours, or Heritage Commission, this is yours, and we could run with it. One of the things that I would like you guys to discuss amongst yourselves, I would like the water park there for the express viewpoint of we have all this toddler, pre-K, kindergarten stuff here, and this would just make a nice spot for it. A splash park is not for 14-year-olds, though they're going to enjoy it. A splash park is more for single-digit kids. And this is a good spot. We had a discussion about Holiday Bazaar, and you wanted to incorporate the waterfront part. So if we rip up some of the stands to put in the holiday park, we're going to lose some seating, and I think you want to put the splash park on the other side where the grassy area is. Real estate down there, like everywhere else, is at a premium. So as I thought about it, my idea is we need to do double, triple use parts. A good spot is just an idea. It's a brainstorm. This is not anything. You pull up the rotary circle, you put the splash park down, you put the rotary circle back. We use the rotary circle for a lot of different things, so we can have hours of operation, whatever. And the kids splash for your 4th of July pie eating contest. It's here. If the Rotary Park wants to use it, it's there. So you have one spot here. It's about 800 square feet. You now have 3 uses out of it, and all of them are congruous, and you don't change the cityscape, the landscape at all. So that's just something you guys can talk about amongst yourselves. I am on board with whatever framework you guys put down. I don't want to be the lame horse in progress. We do need additional tax dollars to do all the planning you folks are starting to put down. And a lot of the things that I see could go a long, long way. So that's really what I got just right off the top of my head. I prefer to listen to the 90-minute presentation from the comfort of my couch. That's why I'm here now, and I didn't sit here earlier. Any questions from you to me?
No,
Because I'm kind of a smart guy. I think I got a good handle on things.
no, I mean, everything that you're saying is great input. So when we, decide to say we focus on certain projects.
Yes.
Certainly we want the park plan.
Yes.
Which, by the way, to me would not include smart city.
That's fine. No, I understand.
Whole other,
No, I
whatever.
wasn't discussing that.
But park plan only would be to have you on that committee to give us some input.
Okay.
And if that whole thing was $2 to $8 million, right?
I understand.
Huge. And so when I shared my little role play a minute ago, that was just an example of what I think we need to come to a value proposition statement for the community to understand the value of that decision. And that's how you do that. You monetize those details with the data and the input there. I know you talk about, who would enjoy whatever. We also need to be very closely acquainted to what our citizens' population includes.
Yes.
And believe it or not, again, that median age is 38 years old. Whether anybody believes me or not, that is a fact.
No,
And
no argument.
we have about, I think it's my last number, similar, less than 300 children under 18 years old, okay? And probably a lot of them are, and I know we have the differences in age group. Part of that also, park plan did include like a skate park for these kids that are older with skateboarding, right? I caught kids over there last night skateboarding on our deck by the pavilion, which I had to tell them to leave. So, because it's not allowed.
No,
And
it's
so,
not.
Yes, no, it's not allowed at that pavilion on that deck. So I know the needs, right? And I think that's where you get into the weeds. Like, what really do folks want? We've been hearing about Splash Park since I moved here as a want, okay? But how many people does that really mean? Before you're going to spend that money, we need to make sure there is a specific need for it. So those are way deep things that I
They
think
are.
can be
They are.
explored, you know, when we start focusing on some of those details.
But
and also
pulling-
the funding,
sorry?
where that funding comes from. Talk about the tax. We do not want to increase taxes.
No, we don't.
No.
But we
So
do need
have
to increase
find
revenue
funding
somewhere.
that can help us massage those projects
Mm-hmm.
or to support them, you know. So,
My point was not to be in the weeds, but to come up a little bit and look at square footage as multi-use square
Right.
footage. And I think we would be better served with multi-use square footage. You have the park down there at Sunrise that really isn't used a whole lot, and all this stuff here is used very extensively. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just a location thing, which is why this is a better spot. Dog park here, the dog run on the triangle. You have a park down here. Everyone that we've spoke with, very positive for having the dog park there. But this is not the point of what I wanted to come up. I wanted to say, hey, whatever we decide, we need, because of our 1.1 square miles, we need to have multi-use thoughts in mind.
Right.
So that's where I was. And the other reason for putting, or the discussion of please discuss this and put it here, is you have a lot of cameras here, and you have a lot more eyeballs here, and you have a lot of vandalism down there.
we don't have a lot of vandalism.
Not anymore? Did it finally
It's
taper
never-
down?
It's not documented, no.
I'm just concerned.
I have one more
A
little
splash
step
park's $1 million
that
bucks.
Based on, no, so the sheriff's office documentation does not demonstrate that.
Okay,
in the
good.
last year. So, I have one other thing to check off on my research on that area to share, and then we'll move forward beyond that project. But,
Great.
yeah, the data is not there, so.
That doesn't mean anything. It could be just not there because
It
it's
could
not
have been
there.
not reported.
That's what I mean.
Okay, but the bottom line is, we have to base it on the data
Mm-hmm.
to support the effort. So, yeah, like I said, I have one other thing that we're going to explore, and I'll share that with council once I can have that meeting with the sheriff's office. So, but yeah,
Thanks.
thanks, John.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Just gonna have a seat.
Any other comments?
No, I kind of agree that with only 3 of us here, it might be a bad idea to try to plan out all the workshops in the future. But I will make 2 observations. Are we still having a budget and finance committee meeting in May?
Yes.
Because that's not on the calendar anywhere, and I think that's really important, especially
I
because,
think I sent a calendar invite.
Yeah, we have a calendar
to
invite.
the mayor and Tony who are on it, and I can
No.
if I've got those confirmations, I can send it back to
okay,
everybody.
I don't need to go to it. I'm just saying, I've looked all over the website, I've looked at the budget and finance committee, I can't find it anywhere, and so I was just, that's something I think is really important, we just gotta have that. And so, that's part of my interest, part of my emphasis on workshop dates. That's just really important, we gotta do that. And the second one that I would make an observation on is, and I know this was a draft, and I appreciate you kind of pushing us a little along, but June 19th is one of the dates that you suggested for us to have a workshop. That's Juneteenth, that's a holiday, and so I would not recommend that date,
Okay.
okay?
It's
and-
not a city holiday, is it?
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know.
And so,
Very new.
so without specifically setting up dates, I would recommend that we just plan on having one workshop every single month.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Um,
I agree with that.
We have so much to do.
So we were looking at, I think we can pick another workshop date for May. Based on,
As well as the Budget and Finance Committee?
yeah, I'm sitting here looking at potential dates that I saw here on this, that you handed out to us.
What do you want your next workshop to be on then? I threw out some suggestions based on what I know is kind of burning issues.
Okay,
It
so,
sounds like you needed a second strategic planning workshop to make the
Okay.
next step, but that might not be the next thing you want to tackle.
well, I don't think that it's unreasonable to ask. Number one, that nice little form you gave us to populate. A job to do would be to each of us complete that form on the projects, on each of the projects as much as we can, then not whatever we want to complete it with. So say we each complete a form on each project, right? And we have those completed before the next workshop. Allow, say, a month, say mid-May? I don't
I'm
know.
lost, sorry. What projects are you talking about?
Okay, there's a list of projects. I see here, where is that list of projects? Hold on.
Are you referring to the city priorities? I mean, and again, this is just mine
Yeah, I saw
that I
this.
created.
Yeah, I saw a list of projects, I thought. Okay. Yeah, I saw that where it says strategic planning. Like, okay. I knew I saw something. Okay. So projects. Water lake levels, basically having to do with the Sabre Lakes efforts. The purchase of China Chef. I know those other three. The website, new agenda template, and personal policy. You're taking that on, Charlie. So that's yours. The council room refresh, that's something that's a kind of a one-off because it's under your budget to spend. The strategic plan, event planning, we've got 4th of July Moto Surf. Also to add on here would be the project that you've shared, Dan, with the Christmas kiosk stations. That's a project to me that we need to seriously look at. Let's see here. We got the parks plan. I'm gonna say that water thing has to call under tourism, maybe, as a whole. We do have, I mean, we really do need to consider tourism as a project. And off the bat, that's kind of you have some others you're thinking of, Dan, besides the
Yeah,
strategic
if you
plan?
go back one slot, please.
The strategic
One slide.
plan is kind of the big picture.
Bo, can you go back one slide, please?
So we're similar but different.
Mhm.
Item number 2, and like I said, et cetera, at the end.
Oh, future city hall.
Yeah, that's a
okay.
big deal.
Well, okay, so let's address that. I'm just gonna back up to what happened last year. When we had that workshop in August and talked about a city hall that everybody thought we're gonna sign the contract right off the bat, all that false information got out. An RFQ went out for a proposal on what if we renovated this or add a new building. Kind of a concept only of what that might look like. It wasn't even a bid for what it was costing, it was just a concept.
Got it.
We did not get any return of a quote of any kind.
Mhm.
So that basically died.
Right.
Okay, so, future city hall, I mean, I could see where that would be a project, but at this time, to me, it's a low priority project. It's a huge amount of money, that's gonna have to take funding and somebody behind it at a high level that's gonna support us.
Okay, so, as far as what happened in the past, that's dead.
Mhm.
But, we have opportunities here and we are missing them because we have no plan. And what I'm talking about is, you probably know this, Answer is gone. And they were leasing their building for $1 a year from the county. And so the county is now planning on moving all their Department of Motor Vehicle stuff out of the Hitchcock Plaza and into the old Answer building. Am I telling you stuff you already know?
I did not know that.
I knew that they moved answers out. I have not heard a concise plan on what may or may not be going on.
This may be a plan in jello, not in concrete, but that's what I've heard. So, also, if you look at our library, compared to the rest of the libraries in the county, we are third-class citizens. Our library is...
And it's crowded.
Yes.
Mhm.
So we have an opportunity here to team with the county to talk to them about a government complex that would include both city and county buildings. And I look at Flagler County and what it is like in Bunnell. OMG.
They're being their library?
No, their whole government complex is incredibly impressive.
We do it right there every year.
OMG. And Bunnell is tiny like us. Okay, but they have teamed with the county, Flagler County, and they have a first-rate, first-class facility for county and city facilities. We don't have a plan, we aren't even thinking like that. We need a strategic plan that includes a future city hall, even if it's 15 or 20 years from now. It's possible, I've seen it, we just don't think that way. We need to think differently.
I mean, so to clarify, not that, I don't look at it as a priority based on what's in front of us at this moment. At this moment. That's how
Urgency.
that's why
Yes.
the level of urgency.
Yes.
I'm not saying or disagreeing, I'd love to see us have a new city facility, okay? But it's a big nut as far as finances go. And there's a lot of hurdles to go through even to get going. We've got to get a stakeholder that's gonna help us own it, okay? And that's gonna be way beyond all of us in this room.
That's why we have to
So-
start now.
And I'm not disagreeing, we don't need to have a plan. I'm just saying from a priority perspective, when we're looking at projects that we're gonna put on a schedule for workshops to discuss, the ones to come to my mind are the ones that bubble up as the priorities. And those could be included in, say, the next 10 years. And, not, we could start the format and, what it was and what happened and where we gotta need next, but I think it's not a high priority. I mean, it's just kind of how I see it.
Right, well, a strategic plan is not about what the priorities are right now. It's about all of the things that the
Yeah,
community
I agree with
needs.
that too.
And so I think we're really close to agreeing here. There's some minor differences. And so what I see from what you said is like, take that list, add whatever's missing on that list in number 2 there, and ask the city council members to pick 1 or 2 or whatever they're comfortable with, the lead,
Yep.
and write up those parts, and then they would become part of the overall strategic plan. And I'm just saying, do it all, don't just pick 5 things.
Yeah.
So we're really
And then we,
close, I think.
yeah, I think we can identify them all, and then we agree what the priority ones are, and then we take it from there. I think that's a good plan.
Okay?
So we need to have another workshop, don't you think,
Mhm.
in May, I think after the next meeting. If not, I don't know if we can do it before the end, since they're not here, we only have, another 10 days left in the month? Because before our next council meeting.
Can I make
So-
a suggestion?
Yeah,
Let me find a date in May after the May meeting, and I'll send out a meeting invite, and I'll give y'all a couple different days, times. We
okay.
could have a workshop on something, and then on the
I would label
May
it as-
agenda, we'll put next workshop topic, and then you guys can flesh out, is it the strategic plan, is it something else?
It has
urgent,
to be
or-
strategic plan, I think.
So,
The next one.
you know,
We just got through this, and while it's fresh,
Mhm.
I think it has to be the
Okay.
strategic plan, and the idea is exactly what Dan just said, is I'll take that list and add whatever, or I'll send that list out and y'all can just add, and then we come together with one big list,
mhm.
and then we can sit and talk about it at that next workshop and decide who owns what, and then move from there on the next, fleshing it out, like you said,
That'll work.
and prioritize. You think that sounds better?
No, I think that sounds good.
But you're right, that list is good, and then there's others that we can populate and add to it, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's April 10th today.
Yeah.
Our next meeting is May 6th, so by the 25th, 26th of April, I need to be providing you guys agendas. And I need a little space to bring you a revised personnel plan I'm working on, a revised org chart, you guys want to do a
And that's
lot of
for the-
things and nothing.
That's for the council meeting you're
For
talking
the, for the council
Yeah.
meeting. And so what I'm gonna humbly request here is that you think about what you wanna talk about strategic planning, but, kind of set an expectation that me and the staff the next 2 weeks can hammer some things out without all these other things just coming down the pike that walk in and steal your whole day.
So based on what we've talked about today, and we got the May meeting coming, we're gonna do a workshop in May.
Mhm.
So what I say is, we'll look at this list, I'll write all that down, I'm gonna photo that, because I don't know if I have a copy of it.
I'll give you a copy.
Okay, and I will add what I know to be included. Each of us should do that, I can copy all of them and say, can you just add these projects to if something's missing,
Right.
or unless you wanna send it
Yeah,
out.
have things.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
So send it out, or I'll send it out, I don't care. So here's the list of projects we're looking at, do you think anything we missed? And we're gonna plan a workshop to discuss the prioritization and create a strategic plan in May.
Okay.
It is not appropriate to go into all that detail at that meeting and the council meeting, in my opinion. It takes so much time. And we can just say that we're gonna have a meeting in 2 weeks or whatever on this date to identify priorities and come up with
Okay.
some plans for committees, et cetera. That sound okay?
Mhm.
The
Dan?
one concern I have is that looking at the budget, and I know Charlie knows this, we do not have enough money in the budget to cover salaries.
Yes,
So we have to have a budget and finance committee meeting. We have
and
to.
that's happening in May. May,
We don't have it scheduled yet, though.
Yeah, yes, you do.
yeah, we do.
It may not have been published,
It's
but the
not public
budget
yet.
It's not
I
public
don't
yet.
know.
is,
It's not public.
It's May
it'll be
21st.
published in a well-reasonable time according with Florida statutes, your
It's to
policy,
be in- it's
at
to-
least
to
week
be
before
in.
meeting.
Yeah, it's May 21st. Is that-
As long as we take care of that, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's 10.
We gotta make sure these people are paid.
No, no, and you're right, that is a huge priority, okay? And that will be a huge priority in that conversation. So, we're focused on that.
Awesome, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You gave me a comment now?
There's the. slides.
Oh, okay, I'm not, that's because it's so small, read, I can't read that. Okay, does that sound good? Does that sound good, Speedy? Okay, so do we want to pick a date for that May workshop? Or do we want to wait till the council meeting?
Can I send all 5 of you out some dates, so I think it's really
Okay.
important to get all 5 of you
Okay.
there, and I'll give you 2
Yeah,
or 3 dates
I
and
agree.
time,
Okay,
see where we can coalesce.
Sounds good.
okay, sounds good. Well, are we good?
Yeah. We made some progress. I'm happy.
All right, I would like to adjourn our strategic workshop meeting.